I don't think I've ever cried so hard and so frequently at a movie.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Um, I don't know what to say except A, I'm sorry, and B, you're welcome.
It was a good cry. It was the good kind.
I like a good cry, actually, and I like movies that give us that catharsis. And the whole point with this movie was to do a kind of fun adventure that's funny, but that really lands for people emotionally. Certainly, Ryan and I and our whole cast, we came to this with a lot of heart and a lot of feeling about these themes. And I'm glad that that came through and landed for you too.
Absolutely. Well, and one of the themes that I love so much, I thought was so interesting, was this idea of learning from our younger selves and also having empathy for our younger selves instead of trying to get away from it, which so many of us tend to do. So, talk about why you wanted to sort of examine that theme.
Well, it's precisely because, as you just said, so many of us run from our history,
Mhm.
right? We run from our former selves because either we're embarrassed of them or we cringe at some of those memories. But that kid makes us who we are now. And Ryan and I talked a lot about that word empathy, empathy for our former selves, but maybe equally importantly, empathy for our parents, right? We all go through this crazy arc where we either idolize our parents or resent them or have anger. And eventually, to have a happy life, you got to make peace with all that and see them as the humans that they are, doing the best they could, like we are. And a movie that could take those themes and make them literal as plot, that I knew instantly when I heard that idea that that could be a really satisfying journey.
Yeah, I think this movie really honors parents. It really elevates the role of parents. And of course, Jennifer's character is so important, but the role of fathers are really emphasized in this movie. So talk about why you wanted to honor fathers at a time when we're not seeing that a lot in film.
I feel like, look, to some extent, kids are born with who they are, but the way they live and what they put into the world is heavily influenced by the way they're parented. And it's so easy to calcify into a story about your own past. Oh, well, I came from this hardship, so of course I'm messed up. Or, oh, well, this happened to me, so that's just the way I am. But I don't think people are static. And I think that we might get locked into stories of our history that might not be accurate, that might not be truthful. And so in this movie where a grown up gets to revisit his younger self and the kid self says, man, you got it wrong. You leaned into anger because it's easier than being sad.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the way, you forgot the difference. This is a really important thing for us all to remember, because I don't know how to live an open hearted life if we get locked into resentments and anger. And so the movie is about a man, it's a time travel movie that is less about saving the world and more about saving oneself.
Yeah, it's so good. Well, you're behind so many incredible movies. I mean, I can't even list all of them, but family friendly movies. How has your own experience as a father informed the type of projects that you tackle?
I've always, as you can tell from my filmography, I've always loved movies that can be for everyone.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that I make movies to pontificate or to preach about a certain set of values, but I do believe in the value of family connection. And I make movies that show those connections. And my real goal is to make movies that foster those connections. I like movies and shows that we can watch together. And I know how rare they are, right? I feel like I don't know what happened to that genre, but if you show me a movie that I can watch with my daughter and my dad that can span generations, that's a gift to us as a family, because that becomes shared experience. That becomes a shared family memory. And I have to tell you, the most gratifying reactions to Adam Project, and we've gotten this a lot as we started to share the movie, is stories of, oh, I watched this with my dad and I haven't seen my dad cry in a decade. Or I finished this movie and I called my mom because I never thank her. So those kinds of connections to the way we live, those are valuable. And that's a dream for me, to make movies that entertain, but also foster those connections to the way we live.